There it is. There is the countdown to the start of our weekend. Man, I just get it. I get excited. I get excited before the weekend gets here. It is. Need a little chapstick. Need a little chap. How many of you are chapstick people? Just put a one in if you're a chapstick person. Just put a one just because I get excited over the chap. Say good morning in the chat. Tell us where you're calling us from as we all come on here. Let me open up my Facebook page as well. It is chilly. It is chilly. Look at Chad is chilly. Look at he's already got a jacket on. That guy, he is getting ready for the game today. He is getting ready for the game today. He's got a big game, second week in the playoffs. I'm not even in it, and I get excited. I just get excited about it all, just living vicariously. Coach Jada is one of the coaches as well, so get a little behind the scenes as well on that action that we got going on here. So I'm just trying to get, good morning. Look at everybody in Facebook. Good morning, Amanda, Rosario, Barbara, Michael. Jada's over there in Facebook world as well. Good morning, John. Bethany. Good morning to you, Bethany. Paul, Latrice down in Florida. I know Latrice in Florida. They don't have Wendy's down in Florida. No problems down there in the weather. No problems down there. It's beautiful. I'm sure sunny. Robin's got Key West managed. She's got Key West down pat over there. I'm sure. Who else do we got out here? I don't know. Just put it in the chat. I'm excited on this Friday. I'm excited on this Friday. I don't have my kids this weekend. Do not have my kids this weekend. So I asked Brielle, I said, Brielle, do you want me to go? She's always wanted, she's 12 now, John. So she's like 12 going on 18. Always wanted to help me with the Christmas decorations. Always wanted me to help me out with the outside Christmas decorations. So Jennifer, I said to her, I said, hey, Brielle, do you want me to wait for you? Because I know this weekend I don't have you. We can do the Christmas decorations when during Thanksgiving. No, Dad, no, you go ahead. You go right ahead. You go do those Christmas decorations. I'm fine with that. I'm like, and Latrice is laughing because she's got a daughter. She just knows that it's just, we talk about ego, right? Easing God out. It's Edo over here, easing dad out. That's what it is over here. Edo, easing dad out. That's what I got going on right now. But we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rebecca. For those of you on Facebook, say good morning to us. For those of you on Zoom, say good morning. My name's Coach Brock Zevan, life coach, business coach, real estate agent, and a DAD. Guys, we got a great guest for you today, a wonderful guest for you today. I also want to give him a shout out, some props. Guys, he's on the time zone that you all know I don't get along with very well. When I went out there on the West Coast, you know exactly what happens to me. But Mark lives out in the West Coast, down in Southern California. So I want to say good morning to this man. He has an amazing, one of my favorite concepts, life by design, not by default. And many of us in our world live life and we are so reactive with our lives that we just like, well, Brock, this is what we got going on. This is what happened to me. Market looks like this. Interest rates are like this. It's raining outside, so I can't do that. No, no, you can do it. You can do it. And so he's got a book. We're going to be making sure we get you his book information. He's got a course. Guys, I'm just telling you, this concept of designing your life is amazing. I heard about it 10 years ago when I was at Keller Williams, and it just resonated with me so much, and it helped me transform my life, especially during my drinking days, to be like, you know what, you gotta freaking get your head out of your tail, because this is not the life you're supposed to be living. This is not the life God designed it to be. So give me some love. Put some high fives in the chat. Put some fives in the chat. Click it on there. Our main man, Mr. Mark Collins. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Brock. Thanks for having me on with this amazing group you have.
It's amazing. All right, we're a bunch of crazy kids over here, just having a good old time. So, well, I appreciate you getting up early to be with us on this East Coast time zone that we got over here. So, Mark, tell us a little bit, give us that 10,000-foot overview of a little bit about you, your family, and what you got going on.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you asking. So, first and foremost, I'm married, have a wife of 33 years at this point.
Wow,
Uh,
congratulations, man. Congratulations on that.
Appreciate it. Three adult kids. Last one just moved out, and so as my wife and I, we've agreed that this is now our honeymoon season. When we first got married, we were super broke, and our honeymoon looked like one night at a local hotel, and then back to parenting and life. So now we get to make up for that time, and we're in the middle of our honeymoon season.
That is,
Yeah,
we need to do a show on all those parents who their kids now have like on the last leg of high school or just like empty nesting. Because I just think like that's a whole element in itself, and not to go down a tangent or a rabbit hole, but I think it is reevaluating or understanding yourselves again as a couple because you've been so immersed with your children,
yeah.
and you're like, okay, we we met each other. I don't know when you met your wife, but like we met each other when we were 25. Okay, we're 55 now, and all our kids are out and moved on, or 45. Like now, where do we go again? And so, 33 years. Congratulations to you on that, man.
Thanks, I appreciate it. So beyond that, what I'm doing, I'm passionate about serving and helping people. So my passion is, if you wanted the tagline, it's to unlock and unleash your hero in hiding in your business, your job, your relationships, and life. So with me, it's providing tools and resources for those things you talked about, that life by design, being able to give people what I consider a blueprint to actually do that.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to be making sure we get your contact information out here because a lot of us on here have coaches. A lot of us on here have mentors. And it's so, so very important that coaches and mentors, they expedite it. And I'm sure you have a coach and you have a mentor because, we never feel that all right, I've reached the summit. I got it all figured
Yeah.
out. And so as you're going through this life by design, this default, like how long have you been doing it, and what were you figuring out to be like, you know what, this is what I want to do to help people.
Yeah, well, so that's interesting, Brock, because I tell people it's not an amazing idea I had that I wanted to give to other people. This is something you all need, and so I'm going to teach it to you. For me, it really started with the journey of figuring it out for myself. Unpacking it super quickly. Really, it's growing up trying to use accomplishments and titles and all of those things to make up for a feeling of not being valued or worth. So for me, it was really trying to figure it out myself, really finding a way for that, what I call the man on the inside, to show up on the outside, that person
Mm,
of courage and authenticity and excitement and assurance and all of those things that, I believed I could be, that I wasn't really seeing in my life. We probably don't have time in this conversation to unpack all of that, but sometimes you're not living from who you're created to be, but what your life has told you. And to be totally honest, Brock, you're always living from one or the other. And so for me, it was starting to figure out how to unpack some of those things that I believed I was, or the things that really brought on that feeling of fear, failure, imposter syndrome, and live it out in my own life. And when I started to see that, as a person of faith, I found some instructions within the Bible for myself after trying personal development and finding that gave me habits, but not transformation. I wanted the transformation, not habits that I needed to continue to manage. Um, Found it out in my own life. And then in that place, like with you or anybody who's listening or watching, when you find something exciting or amazing or transformational, you want to share it with people you know. So
mm.
I started informally with nuggets and ideas and concepts with people, and then I really kind of wrestled with, trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I get them from A to Z? How do I get them from default to design? What I've done in my own life and the things that I've discovered and implemented. How do I give them those resources? So that's where Life Mastery was developed, and the book was written, Life Mastery: Living Life by Design, Not by Default. Probably been doing it informally for about 10 years, formally for about 6.
Wow. So during that 10-year process, I'm pretty sure, just like many successful people, we don't wake up, hit the alarm, hit the snooze button, be like, finally, so success arrived. Let me go
Mm,
downstairs. The Amazon just delivered success. The package just got here,
right.
and here we are. Walk us through some of those beginning stages, because many of us on here are in the beginning. I don't want to say beginning stages, but like we're going through this design. We're going through this where the design, the the distractions, the
Yeah.
challenges hit us in the face. We're like, you know what? Maybe God's trying to tell me. I mean, how many of us on here all where things, so many bad things happen to us. We're like, well, maybe God's trying to tell me I shouldn't be doing this. These tests are just too hard. Maybe I should be doing something else. And those tests are done on purpose. Share with us some of
Hmm.
those, maybe some of those tests that you were facing in the beginning so you could share this testimonial today.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, my own journey started not 10 years ago, but probably 20. So me, apart from business development, is really starting to unpack some of those things as I talked about living from who you're created to be versus what your life has told you. For every one of us, myself included, your life has a voice, right? Your past, your experiences, your hurts, your struggles, your challenges, the things that you have walked through, the things that have been said to you about you that you don't believe, but you're actually living out. So it's really understanding the mindset and thought process of you're either believing the things that you've walked through or your sum total of who you are, or you're believing that you're greater than the things that you're walking through, right? It's that scriptural reference of the people in the Word of God who while going through trials and tribulations, if you want to get super spiritual with it, right? They're going through the challenges, the issues, the water pipe breaks, the job is lost, the business fails. And in that place, trying to figure out, okay, well, is this God's design or is this
Mm,
just me with something I have to walk through? And so, first and foremost, it's the revelation and understanding that you're more than your experiences and what you're walking through. So it's not getting through them and certainly you learn the lessons from them. If you make a financial decision that doesn't work out right, you'll learn and you grow from that. But for me and the people that I worked through and for myself in my own journey, it was really the biggest revelation, the biggest thing was separating me from my outcomes.
mm.
Understanding that, what we say in the conversations I have is identity is everything, but it's not the identity of who I am as my title and my possessions and my income and my bank account and all those things that intellectually we understand those aren't us, but
Mm.
practically we act like they are. And so it's really separating from that and understanding, okay, so I have an innate value and worth apart from the things I do. The outcomes I have don't tell me who I am. Who I'm created to be determines the outcomes that I have. And so
You're
there's
right.
that revelation, but it's the understanding of, okay, but I'm still having those negative thoughts. I'm still having that fear of failure and all that. And so the journey for me was really elevating and initiating an understanding of identity using, affirmations and those things that I could do to really start to unpack who I am apart from those things, and just to be totally honest, if I could tell you about a moment. So there was one moment you talk about those
Please.
times, those moments of change. For me, one of those huge pivotal moments, those linchpin moments in my life was a tragedy my wife and I walked through when our youngest daughter's 26, 2 years before she was born. We were expecting twins and lost them. And that was a huge moment in my life. So previous to that moment, I was walking through, trying to figure out, again, that guy on the inside trying to make a way for him to show up on the outside. Confidence, assurance, excitement, and all those things. I was using personal development, those programs. And while they bring good change, they don't bring transformation, at least the ones that I had and the experience that I walked through. So there was that pivotal
Wait,
moment.
say that again. They don't, and I want to make sure I got it correctly,
They,
because they don't
they,
bring good change, they bring
they bring
transformation.
change, they don't bring transformation. The difference between change and transformation is change is something to manage, that life by default. Transformation is me really becoming unleashed in the person that I'm created to be. That's the ultimate goal of everybody I work with.
I love that line.
And so in that place, I was walking through those things, trying to gain those habits to try and make change, right? And it's those things that we've all experienced. It's that roller coaster of development where it's like, oh man, it's amazing and great, and I'm doing it, and I'm maintaining these habits and whatever. I'm going to the gym, I'm eating the right things, I'm using the right mantras or whatever. And then a day or two off, or something comes up and you get distracted or whatever, and then all of a sudden it falls by the wayside. Transformation is you unleash just who you are. And so I didn't know that, so I was using habits as a substitute. And so in that place when we lost our twins, there was a couple of things that happened. The first one was I finally decided to stop trying to control everything, really start living from who I was created to be, not trying to measure up to who my father was. That's a lot to try and unpack, so I'll put a pause on that for a moment. The other part of it was who I was in my vocation and trying to develop myself was who I was spiritually as well. So the same thing I was using to try and unleash the person I was created to be were the same tools, lists, and checklists that I was using in my relationship with God. And so for me, as a Christian, it was okay. So if I go to church, if I read the Bible, if I pray enough, if I do those things I'm doing, if I don't swear during the day, or at least I minimize it, or if I change this habit to that habit, now all of a sudden I measure up. So who I was as a son for my father, trying to measure up to who I thought he wanted me to be, was who I was in my spiritual walk. And so two things changed. I stopped trying to measure up to him. I stopped trying to use habits, and left gave myself the ability to try and start to figure out, okay, well, if habits aren't it, then what is? And in my relationship with God, through some challenges and anger and frustration, obviously, in that grief and that time that I was walking through with my wife when we lost our twins, it was turning my back on that relationship with God. And then as I started to walk through the healing from the grief of that time with my wife, starting to realize that there was a difference between having a relationship with God and being a Christian. And so that authentic relationship really supercharged that journey I had in life by design, life mastery, and those things that worked out after that.
Wow. I don't know if you know Chad Free, but he's one of our phenomenal leaders on here. And you and him, I don't know about you, Chad. I was just looking at you several times on what Mark is saying to you. I'm like, oh my Lord. So like he's just he Chad shares a lot about this type of stuff, and he has a history as well of the
Hmm.
stories he shares about that were very common to you, and you two, I think, would connect very, very well. Um, and so I was writing some things down here on what you talked about. One of the things, ironically, I can't. Here's my lineup. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. So I was listening to Bishop Jakes. John
Okay.
laughs at me, and there was a line that Bishop Jake said, and I just love the way he says things. He says, in order for God to help you, he first has to heal you.
Hmm.
And when you said that about your, turning your back, and I was going through my healing process, that's where God's helping you. He's like, I got to heal you first before I can start to help you.
Yeah.
And it really resonated with me. I can tell you exactly where I was on my dog walk this morning with good old Leo. And I was like, I literally stopped at my tracks and I looked up and I was just like, and I asked God, I said, God, where do I need to be healed today? Where do I
Hmm.
need to be healed today?
That's good.
Because so many times we just go through things so quickly. And where's Latrice? Because Latrice is one of my coaching clients, and she's amazing, strong, powerful woman. And she was she will share things with me. She goes, I don't even know why I asked you. I know who I need to ask. And it's just asking, because I never asked God to, like, where do I need to be healed today? And it just resonated with
That's
me
good.
on what you said to what triggered that. And I want to say this one line, and then I'm going to go into our final questions here. But I know you said man, so let's just, for man or woman, just to keep everybody happy over here,
Yeah.
man or woman on the inside to show up on the outside. And the first thing that came to my mind, Mark, when you were speaking and talking about that was 8, 10 years ago during my heavy drinking years. Man, I did not want that person to come on out. I was hiding him. And then when I was going
Hmm.
through my transformation, stopping the drink, I still didn't want the new version of Brock to come out because I was embarrassed. I was like, everybody's gonna think, like, I can't talk about this. Like, I don't want to talk about my drinking. I don't want to talk about what the hell I was doing. Like, people are gonna be like, man, you're a terrible person. I can't believe you did that. Yet that was God's way of doing my transformation, like you talked about.
Yeah.
Like, no, because you said this, life has a voice. And that resonated with me because it does. Our life does have a voice, and are we going to share it? Well, resonated, not resignated, resonated, Robin. Robin's my English. She keeps me on point, and I keep saying I don't know why I put a G in it. Resonated with me, Robin, with that. So I really appreciate those concepts, those things that you were sharing, and um, yeah, man, really, really great stuff, Mark, and what you're sharing on that. So you're now on your second honeymoon, we'll say first honeymoon, however you want to
Yeah.
say it. kids are out of town. You got not out of town, but they moved on, and you are probably learning more about yourself and your wife and what this new life, this new season looks like. I remember my parents, I'm the oldest of five, and when we all moved out, my parents still say like people still keep coming back. We've been through divorces in our family, so I'm like, Mom, Dad, I need some
Sure.
help. But share with us what you're trying to figure out today. What does that look like for you on a personal life or a business life?
Yeah, and I think for me, they both come together. We talk about in the work that I do with people that, you have five spheres of what I call the five spheres of life mastery. And, put two of them are the relational, financial, vocational, vocational being what's the thing you're investing in, what's the impact that in the world that has your name on it. And so for me, it's this isn't the right word because I don't believe in this, but the word I will use is balance. And for me as I'm a bit of a, I don't know if you want to call it a type A or a black and white. So when I'm all in on something, I'm all in, and that's all there is. And so this is a passion of mine because of my journey and because of finding that it wasn't, those challenges and issues and the thoughts that you have that are holding you back wasn't a me thing, but a we thing. I haven't found a client or had a conversation with anybody who hasn't walked through those same things. And so for me, there's a passion to give people the transformational tools that I didn't have and give them the ability to get to that place of believing who they're created to be and see that person show up. So for me, there's a huge passion for that. And that's what I'm investing, the rest of my life doing at some stage or some form. But at the other side of it is I have a marriage with my wife, and so there's this dance of giving all that I have to the passion that I have to ensure that the impact in the world I'm supposed to have is fully formed, fully done, while at the same time understanding that I have a wife in a relationship and with her and a great one and a healthy one, and the only way it stays healthy is that there's time invested in that as well. So I love where our life is at because there's conversations when we were, in early in our marriage, 1, 2, 3 years into it, that we, it'd be more fighting than conversation because you're trying to, navigate what does us look like. So now there's more healthy conversations, but for me, there's this ever present understanding of make sure that the time counts with my wife. Our time is short on earth. And so I definitely want to have the impact, and I'm super passionate and will make sure that I give all I can to that, but at the same time making sure I give all I can to the marriage that I have in this honeymoon season so that as we're growing older, we're not just growing older together, but we're growing closer.
Mm, I love it. I uh I like the saying, you're not going to get the rest of me, you're going to get the best of me. And many times late in the day, late in the week, people, our loved ones are only getting the rest of us because
Yeah.
give the best of us to like the strangers and oh, I gotta do this at work and I gotta run here and do here and they get the best of us. Yet when we come home, just leave me alone, everybody. I just gotta lay on the couch and unwind, grab me a
Yeah.
beer and just let me be. And um, so I want to ask you a question here since I have like another minute or two. And you talked about your black and white. How do you, for those that are on here who are the black and white, those that are just like, I'm all in and I'm here, like, how do you separate that though? Do you have like a calendar? Do you have an alarm? Do you have like, all right, clocked out of this, I'm going to this? Like, how is that transition for you? And did it take some time to like figure that out? Like, how did that happen for you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brock. And to very quickly let you know, I think there is no separation. So life mastery for us is living from who you're created to be in every area of life. But the person showing up is the same me in all of those areas. So when I'm not doing, work in podcasting or investing in the clients that I have or developing new products as I'm doing now, am I thinking about it? Yeah, for sure. While at the same time, am I thinking about, okay, what's date night look like for my wife and what are those things that we're involved in? Really, for me, it's showing up as who you're created to be in all of those places. It's showing up as me. I tell people this, it's a line that we have. It's you're the answer to every circumstance you're walking into. You're not the question to be figured out, you're the answer to be given. And so in that place, it's really me showing up as me. Does that mean that, I'm thinking about some product that I'm trying to finalize and how do I get over that last challenge, that last hurdle to get it done? That is the case. But being all in is great from this aspect. When I'm on a date with my wife, I'm all in with us. I can't lie, I won't lie and tell you that there won't be a few conversations of, imagine this is happening or we're the business
Right.
is developing here. Imagine what it's going to look like when that happens. But it's in that place that you're dreaming together. It's in that place that I'm giving her more of who I am. And so it's not compartmentalizing life because nobody really is able to do that well. But compartmentalizing the focus of those times so that when I'm with my wife, I'm with her. And when I'm, with my business and the things that I'm doing, I'm there. When I'm with God during my time with Him, I'm there as well. But even then, I'm dreaming of God. What does it look like? What does
Mm-hmm.
this next adventure look like this next week, this next year? So really,
Yeah.
it's all of me in all of my places at all of the time. But it's authentically showing up as me, not me being distracted and wishing I was somewhere else.
Mm. I like the two A words, all in and authentic. All in and authentic. So, um, as we conclude, the most infamous question that I end with and ask with before we share about your book, tell us what's the one thing as we get into the end of 24, going into 25, the holidays, families, what would you, as an experienced person like yourself, been through many different seasons, what's the one thing you'd like to leave us with today?
Yeah, I think there's two sides to the coin. For me, there's the one thing I did right, and there's the one thing I focus on. So the one thing I did right throughout all of this journey that we've talked about, much more that we could unpack, just like everyone who's in this community. The one thing I did right was I believed in that voice, that voice that was saying there's more than the life that I'm living, and I refused to give up, even though I didn't find those right tools in the beginning. I created a transformational program because I couldn't find one, but all the way through it, the one thing I did well was I refused to give up. The first time, the first thing, the second thing, the fifth thing, the program, those 12 programs I worked on, those 20 books that I read, I refused to believe that there wasn't that person that I was created to be, the one that God told me I could be. And the second is this: there's more. I work with people who are successful at, some levels, successful at great levels, or there's just starting their success journey and whatever their vocation is. And the truth of the matter is there's this God level life that we're called to. So what I tell people is life mastery is simply living from who you're created to be at the highest level you're created for in every area of life. To me, that's fulfillment, and that's a life well lived. And so for the people that I work with and the people here, whatever level of success you are, that's amazing, and certainly be proud of it. But the question is, what's that level? What's the highest level of life that God has for me? And how do I take steps and make steps so that I can become the person to steward it and to carry the mantle of the life that I'm created for?
I love it, man. There's more. That's got a nice ring to it. Rika, I don't know how you find amazing people, but man, what a great message you had today, Mark. And we really appreciate you being on here. Guys, this guy's got a book and a course. I know I'm getting the book. Mark, tell us a little bit about the book and your course.
Yeah, absolutely. So the course is that thing I talked about, the blueprint, the transformational strategies of getting there. It's not just my journey, but it's those things that I've learned. It's actually scriptural as well for those people of faith. I have every instruction, every strategy is has a scripture that's backed from it. I'm a pastor as well as just a business leader. So but to
Wow.
me, there was instructions that I found that were absolutely transformational. So that's what the course is. It gives you that A to Z, so that if you're a person who believes there's more for your life, you just want to figure out how to get there. You want to figure out how to master your life, not just manage it. Then the course is there. The book really was two things. It was uh, my mom encouraging me to write a book, and so I did. She passed away in April, but at the end of last year, I was able to hand her my very first copy of that book. So I
Wow.
appreciate her doing that. And you're right about what you're passionate about. So life mastery is that thing, being able to bring transformational tools. What I consider the book to be is more of the quick start guide to life mastery. It's not got the one-on-one development. It's not got the group coaching. It's not got, every single lesson to the very nth detail and all the worksheets and all the things that go along with it. But you can get nuggets from every chapter that I tell people you can read something today, implement this week, and see transformation this month. So that's in the book as well.
I love it, man. Guys, we got all the links right here in the chat. I just clicked on the book here. I love master, not manage. Master, not manage. Man, I love that line. I wrote that down. And so, guys, take a look. Put some fives in the chat. Give a virtual high five. Put some love in the chat. I don't know about you, but I got a lot of content. I got a lot of notes right there from you today, Mark. Just quote some things that you said. Balance and transformation, heal and help, just many, many different things that you said. And I want to thank you. I want to wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving to you. And just thank you very much for your time early this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for the conversation, Brock. I loved it.
Awesome. Guys, we really appreciate it. So put some fives in the chat, put some love in the chat. Go buy his book. Go buy his book, all. Go learn, go listen to some of this stuff that he's got going on here. You read it during Thanksgiving. You got nothing else to do besides scrolling through our phones and watching football. So want to wish everybody a very, very happy weekend. And we will be back still on Thanksgiving. I'll remember 51 out of 52 weeks. We will be here next week. So come join us. I want everybody to have a wonderful Thanksgiving or a wonderful week. I'm excited about Thanksgiving, you can tell. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, be happy, be healthy. And I'll be back as your host on Mondays with Maxwell at 8:15. God bless you all. Thank you so much. See ya.